Hey, welcome back, guys. This is Zone, aka Clark. I wanted to go ahead and show you where I am with the Reaver Titan. I took a couple days to not film because the last video didn't necessarily get great reviews. Well, I won't say no one said anything negative as of yet. I'm sure someone might go after this and say something negative, but they didn't say anything positive either, and I take a neutral statement as a negative, actually. Um, so I thought I might put a little bit more effort into what you see and actually have a progress update that was noteworthy. Instead of this is where I am at this hour, next hour I'll show you more type of thing. Now, if you notice, right through here, I did a lot of work to fix the damage that this corrosion had suffered. I don't know if you can see that with this light. Yeah, I guess you can. I'm just looking at the camera weird, the camera viewer weird. So, the funny thing is, it's nice to have this filled in, but it actually does very little because this actually has a panel over it. And the only thing you have to be aware of is this here, if you're particular, and this right here. However, I talked about in the first video, so I figured I'd come back and show you one more time what it looks like, and then later on I'll show you what it looks like with the panel over it. This actually has air vents like this right here over each one of these. So both of those are actually a non-starter. You can see here that I actually have the Titan in a walking pose. On all the videos I've seen, I have not seen anyone attempt a walking pose in the first try, and I would highly recommend to not do that. It took a whole lot of effort and balance and planning to get it with just the one leg forward. I have to have a reason why this leg is attached to the ground. So the way I'm going to do that is I'm actually going to raise the surface up so this toe is actually still embedded into the ground and will actually be fixed to a hard point that will be concealed by what looks like just the surface. So while these two pieces might be like that, the actuality of it is that's rock solid. So this toe here will be an extension of this screw because I don't like the way this is. And this screw just literally goes through a terminator base, which once this is covered with crap, it will be light. Now the client said he wanted it either on his foot on a hill, and I could easily do this up into the hill and I'll ask him what he wants to do. Or I came up with the idea of a broken water pipe, and I'd put it like right in here basically, and it's shooting out water from a water main. And basically the Titan stepped on it and broke it. Now with water effects and strengthening techniques inside the effects that are clear or at least opaque enough that when you paint them you don't see them, I would have this completely concealed so you wouldn't even know it was there. Now, he liked that idea, but I am leaving that up in the air because the way the toes are currently, how cool would this be if he was stepping on top of like a rhino, a crushed rhino or something like that? It kind of looks like he's got his foot wrapped around something. Now, I don't know if I would use a rhino, but there's a lot of options out there. I could talk to the client about using a chimera. I have other options. But anyways, this is just something I was looking at. And this is pretty much attached at this point in time. So I would want to go back and put something on top of this, because anything on top of this coming down that attaches to a wider footprint, sort of like a camel toe, is going to make this stay more and make this leg more secure. Over here, because I don't want the toes sitting there completely flat, I want it to look like it's gripping into the earth itself. I've gone ahead and raised it up on a piece of 1/4 inch thick cork, which is actually really strong. I don't know if you can see that right there. I've used this in other client-based or client-driven projects as concrete walls and whatnot. Now, I've purposely left all the leggings off and the cod piece that goes right here, and this is actually unattached too. But I've completely left all those off so that I can paint it and then add things on and paint the outer layers again with a airbrush and whatnot. Now here is the main canopy that holds all the goodness. As you remember in the first video, potentially, I talked about how this looked a little bit deformed, and you can see here this side is much closer than this side. And that is important because this right here basically goes like that. See if you can see that right there. So if you have this side on the inside and this side on the outside, because both of these pieces are a little bit warped probably, at least this piece is for sure warped, then this will never sit right. And if you don't know how to use the hot water technique to reform resin, then you're going to run into huge problems. So I recommend at least doing a little bit of research prior to doing it. And realize that as long as if you can put your hand in the water, it's not too hot to ever damage this. You're never going to permanently damage it, but if you can stick your hand in the water. You want it slightly hotter than that, so you want to use tongs on something this thick. So you want to be careful how long it's in there, but it's not like a microbe too long. You're pretty safe, that's what I'm getting at. You want to do all this detail up. Of course, we're going to paint this separate from this. First of all, they're vastly different colors. The client wants this that very deep blue with the light blue highlights, and then he wants the scroll work done, and this done up in actually a gold and a yellow. So there's going to be a lot of that type of stuff going. This will actually be a metallic gold, and this will be probably, well, this part right here will be yellow, but this part right here probably be gold. And it'll be a contrast because there is so much of it, of this trim, all over the place. I've not put the guys in here yet. I want to paint them first and then slide them in. But this is all glued together. And I'm going to talk in another video about a type of glue called last glue. It's that's the name of it. It's called the last glue. It has its purposes, and I've used it particularly in this one here because they lay claim to the fact that it's supposedly 15 times stronger than super glue. So it is not great in every aspect of model building. Only in precise situations is it good. I also haven't cleaned this part up yet 100%. Right here's a separation. I don't know if you can see that. I'm going to try and turn it so you can see that. I'm going to have to, I can't push that in anymore. This is literally just wedged in tight. So I'm going to go ahead and add a little bit of green stuff to the inside of this so that it is not noticeable. Also, you notice there's a lot of gray stuff over here, a little bit of gray stuff over here. I think I accidentally damaged that. If I did, I'll go back and fix that. This is still technically curing, so this is going to be the last thing I paint. This here goes like this. See that? Let me get that in the light. There we go. This is the cockpit. Again, I'm going to use a piece of dowel that goes into here and goes into here. Bingo, bango, bongo. And then I'm going to paint this up, add the crew. There's 3 crew. A guy in a big chair here and 2 crew that sits in these chairs right here. But it's easier to paint these details over here if I don't have the crew in there. It also has a cover and everything. I didn't want to bring all that stuff. You have a stylistic option on this. You can choose to leave the flash in front of these eyes on the canopy that comes over it and then paint them up like a lens. But you have to be very careful because that lens is very thin and the flash is, and you can push it in and then it'll just destroy the whole image. Also, later on, if the client puts his finger on it and pushes too hard, it can pop out. I chose to pull that out because I think that the different assorted colored eyes are they're not really eyes. It's in the eye slot, but these are going to be like, you know, lasers to determine range and sonars and maybe spotlights and all sorts of sensors, basically. And of course, this goes on top of the There's a canopy part that goes on top, and then this goes on top of that. Also, I want to talk briefly, let me get some of the stuff out of the way. Slide this over here. Slide these over, this over, and that over. Bring this back up. I want to talk briefly about this. The client wants me to make it so this is separate, so this can separate. I'm going to use a special type of bolt and nut system. The bolt is going to go through here. I'm going to create a hole, and I'm going to inset the bolt, and then I'm going to cover it up with gray stuff, so that it can't be so it does not affect the upper carapace that sits on top of this. And then on the bottom part, I'm going to go ahead and add a nut down in here. And basically what happens is, as this thing here can turn, the whole upper carapace part, like you can't see that, let me raise this a little. The whole upper carapace here can turn. So while this part here can turn, the whole upper part can turn as well. And basically you screw it on. And you basically want, this is the front, so we need to turn this around. Like this. Okay, so this comes on here. You put it on so it's straight forward, or maybe this way, and then you turn it a quarter, and then you go around one more time, and then that allows you to, and it will have more turn. It will have the ability to probably do 2 full turns. So you can have it face this way, and it will have more than the turn of thread holding it. Or you can have it face that way and have it be more of a turn. Or you can have it face that way or this way. Now, not just the fact that it can turn doesn't make it good to have it like this, but it also means you can take this part off. And then this goes in one shipping case, or one way to ship it. And then this goes in one shipping thing. What you may not understand by looking at the maul, maybe you do because you've held these mauls before, is this upper carapace weighs about 7-8 pounds, and with the arms and everything on. I don't even have the arms on it yet, but the arms will go on there, and that's going to create so much torque on what is a 1-inch piece of resin that, first of all, I think it will damage and break eventually, and second of all, every time you hit a bump, it's putting all that pressure on these feet, and any dynamic pose you have with the foot is going to be completely destroyed over 6 months or a year or something. And if you're spending, the client spent 571 pounds, British pounds on this. I think that works out to be about $900. So if you're going to spend that kind of money on something like that, you don't want it to be damaged in a year. You want to have this thing and give it to your kids. I mean, that's the whole purpose of having these things, right? Let me, just to get the kids playing, at least. Let me show you one other thing I'm doing. Right here, lower the camera a little bit. There we go. Right here you have 2 holes, and this is actually already designed as part of the model itself. That's actually where the shoulder pads go. They sit in there. Now, if I were to continue drilling down and then etch out a left and a right here, and then put a pin in there, or something that can slide in, and basically make it so it goes the length of this. And then on the shoulder pad, I create a spot so that it can sit on top of that, basically a U shape inside it. Then I'd be able to go ahead and drop it on top, and the pin won't be in the way. But I'd go all the way through the hole into this, where the arm is, right here in this little arm cavity. And that would attach to the upper arm, where the biceps and the triceps are, basically on a human. And in that, I'd put something, I'm thinking like a hairbreadth, the little metal thing that goes, wiggly. See, wiggly like this, and then it comes around like that, and it pinches at the middle. Well, I would cut the end of it off, because I don't want that big, long blob at the end. And I don't need it to be that big. But I basically would take 3/4 of an inch of that on both sides, and then that would go on top of the arm, and basically that would shoot through here, through the hole. You could push it up, and then it would stick into a pin, and then you lower it back down, and then that sticks in there. The pin would limit some of the arm movement, but you would still get some motion out of the arm. Now you could do this differently with probably bait and tackle type situation if you went to like a Walmart or a fish and tackle type place where you could have a swivel, and then that would actually be more in that line. And I may actually consider that for the next one, but I'm not doing it for this one. Anyways, so basically you'd have that. Now on the other side here, I'm going to put a little bit of soft foam so that it gives some spring-based tension resistance. So the arm doesn't just sit there and float on the pin itself, because that's going to cause wear and damage to the pin. It's going to cause wear and damage to the model, because now all the weight is focused on 2 points on each side of the hole. Also, it's going to create some left to right action where it can actually swing and sway and maybe damage the model itself. I want some more control. So by putting just a little bit of foam in here, that means the top of the arm, right where the shoulder meets the top of the bicep area, basically, or the tricep area, that area is going to be in a cushion-like padding, basically. So it's going to restrict some of its movement up and down, left and right. But you're going to be able to pull it up or push it in through the foam and then push it back down. You'll see what I'm talking about. I'm talking about like the pick and pluck style foam pieces. You know, that real soft foam. Not talking like wall installation or anything like that. Anyways, and of course I'm going to magnetize the shield generators. This thing has some sort of invulve shield thing that goes on this, and every time you take a wound or whatever, or you take a penetrating hit, or maybe it's a glancing hit, I don't know, these generators get knocked off, and you regenerate so many of these generators every turn. And basically you have to knock all the generators down, and then you can actually have a much better chance to damage this thing. I don't know what the things is, but I would bet it's like a 2 to 4 plus, basically. So it's either 2 plus, 3 plus, or 4 plus in my opinion, on like an invulve save. So it's still possible to wound it with these things on, but it's a lot harder. And if you can ever damage all 4, if I remember right, I was told that it destroys the regeneration ability of these, and basically this thing's in real trouble after that. And that's why these things are almost 1,300 points by themselves. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoy, and I will start painting pieces of this up while I let other pieces cure. I'm going to do a little bit more drilling for here and for here, and I will have another video for you probably later tonight or tomorrow. Alright guys, talk to you later. Have a great day. Bye. I just noticed something real quick guys. I forgot to tell you that one of the legs of the Titan has a missing piece. So you might have noticed throughout the video that there was a straw that goes in there. When that's painted up and everything, and the fact that there's guards that go over it, you're not going to be able to see that at all. If it is noticeable, I'll go ahead and green stuff or gray stuff a little bit of something that's close to it, and then we'll go from there. But yeah, not much you can do when they don't send all the pieces. There was a couple things like that actually. 3 of the missile pods were missing, so I had to go ahead and replace them. I did a pretty good job, I think. You can't tell which 3 they are. And there was one other piece that was missing. That was a nothing piece. It's like an internal piece. But anyway, so 3 out of, I was told 167. I think it's a little bit more than that. I think I added it up, and there was, of course, 4 toes, and then there was 2 parts to each toe. So there's, 8, and then 12 is, and then you have a piece that goes to, you have 3 pieces that connect to the toe. So each toe times that's 12 more pieces. So that's 12 times 24, and then it's a lot of pieces. There's a lot of little bits. Anyways, there's a little bit add on to the last video. I hope you guys enjoy. If you haven't subscribed, please do if I didn't say that already. Alright, thanks, bye.